Hello there, Nigerian football fans and football fans everywhere. So, Cyriel Dessers bags a goal and an assist as Glasgow Rangers, smashed through Viktoria Plzen, 3-0. And Rafiu Durosinmi was on that side. So, I think good performance by Cyriel Dessers, and I think he hasn't done his chances to be part of the Super Eagles World Cup qualifying squad and the AFCON squad indeed any disservice, by putting up such good performances. And I think he's gradually getting into the good graces of Russell Martin, the head coach of Rangers. I think in the previous game, Russell Martin, the head coach of Rangers, he did praise Cyriel Dessers and said Cyriel Dessers was one of the better performers, in his team, on the team, and urged other Rangers players to be more like Cyriel Dessers. So overall, good play, good performance for him. And then what it does mean for Rafiu Durosinmi, I think it's time you leave Viktoria Plzen. You've done all you can do there. Due respect to the club giving you the opportunity to play football in Europe, but I think if I was the agent of Rafiu Durosinmi, I'll begin to look at other clubs that possibly could, be a good stomping ground for him. Thinking of the likes of Frankfurt, that could be a good destination as well, given that they've let Hugo Ekitiko join Liverpool. That could be a good destination as well for him. Dortmund could be, given that you have Guirassy there, 29, 30, so probably time is not on his side too much, but at least you need a backup. You need someone to provide competition for him, so maybe Rafiu Durosinmi could be one of those. Looking at Newcastle United as well, because as it seems at this minute, according to reports we've gotten from Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, Newcastle United did make the higher offer, closer, more on point with the valuation of RB Leipzig for Sesko, but it seems the player has his mindset on playing for Manchester United for whatever reason, but so that means they could be missing out on yet another transfer target, so that could be a very good destination for him as well. But let's see how things shakes down. And then we go on to another bit of news I think has been making the rounds in the past couple of days, and that's Tosin Adarabioyo apparently choosing to play for the Super Eagles now. That's good news for me if it's indeed legit, if it's indeed concrete. The report I think was made by Legit NG, so let's see how legit it is, because he was on a Rise TV. He was asked a question, he didn't want to answer it. He said he was not going to answer it, probably not wanting to affect adversely any background job or background processes to sort of hasten the process to get him clear to play for Nigerian Super Eagles. I don't know, but I think it should be pretty straightforward. I don't think he's really played any sort of games for the English national team for one, and I don't think as well that he's even played a real underage, like grade A age grade tournament for England. So I think it should be pretty straightforward on his end. I think what this means for the Super Eagles is you're getting immediately a leader, a successor, the proper successor to William Troost-Ekong. Now, for me, whatever reasons he's not getting that absolute game time at Chelsea, I don't know. But each time he's played the Club World Cup, you saw it. In the Conference League, you saw it. In the Premier League games he plays, you saw it. You see that he's a leader and he's imposing, both in terms of his both physically, 6'5". So I think, and his passing range as well. So he's got everything it takes to succeed at the Nigerian Super Eagles. So brilliant news, in my opinion. And then we have to talk about Tolu Arokodare. He's not played full 90 minutes in 2 games for Genk, and the reports coming up from Genk is that, at least from a former Belgian goalkeeper, Tosin, he's been going on about probably there's an agreement between the club and the player that they're looking for moves to let him leave the club. So that's why they're trying to keep him on the bench, because one thing you don't want to happen is you agree transfer terms with the club and then the player gets injured for any reason. And let's face it, clubs like Genk, the clubs were more like passage clubs, so due respect to them, they get players from Africa, Asia, at fairly, at cheap prices, and then give them opportunity to play in Europe and sell them to more established clubs, as they develop. So that's part of how they generate their revenues, because they don't really get into the Champions League or all too often. So, and the TV rights, I'm guessing, is nowhere near what you get in the Premier League or what you get in the Champions League, obviously. So selling players, that's how they raise their revenue. So I'm sure they're looking to protect this asset that hopefully they would sell on. So the other clubs that have been linked with him have been Dortmund, have been West Ham, have been incidentally Newcastle United. So who knows if they turn their attentions to him, seeing that they most likely could lose out Benjamin Sesko to Manchester United. So let's see how that all shakes down. But I think Tularu Kodare is a good buy for most, would be a good buy for most clubs. I would like him to go to a club where he gets to play. And Dortmund, I think if he goes there, he would play. If he goes to Newcastle United as their main striker, he will play, given that Isak could also leave them to Liverpool. So let's see how that all shakes down. But overall, so these are the major updates, respecting to Nigerian football and Nigerian players. And also, before we go, we must mention, Nigeria lost in the CHAN, as the sort of home base Nations Cup, lost to Senegal 1-0 despite dominating the ball. So hopefully they get their acts back together, and in the second game they get a victory, and hopefully get to the semi-finals and the finals, and hopefully win the whole thing. At this point, we've come to the end of this video, and I'll see you on yet another video. Stay well, stay blessed. Bye bye.